Yeah, I wanted to speak in support of it. I was on the board of the Taormina Theosophical Community. We have rentals, and I believe we would be affected because we are a corporation. We've managed to keep our rents very low. We have single-family houses still under 2,000, well under 2,000, which is unheard of in this town. I'm appalled at the gouging that is going on here. It's horrific. And my feeling is that, yeah, I agree with some of what Nate said earlier. This is maybe too little too late, but at least it is something, and something has to be done. And if you wait, you can bet your bottom dollar if you wait, those people that are thinking, oh boy, we better raise our rents now before it's too late. No, this has got to happen now. And yes, there should be a committee. Set up a committee. This isn't going to solve the problem, but it is a tiny step towards doing something. At least show that you people can do something. It's gotten out of hand. It's been out of hand for quite a while, and I just hope you will pass this.
May I ask the speaker a question?
Yes.
I have two separate questions. One is, how does Taormina keep the rent for those nice houses under 2,000? Secondly, could the city attorney again address, it seems like a myth that there's a fear that if we don't pass this tonight, that they're going to raise the rent while they can. Now, isn't the state protection in place to prevent that? Is it or isn't it?
So I'm happy to answer that question first to the mayor and council. The AB 1482 state protections are in place as they apply. So if the city adopts something that would be broader, more protective than the state protections, then landlords may choose to use this opportunity, if there is a delay, to raise the rents as may be allowed per existing leases. Whether landlords will or will not do that, I don't know.
But again, again, I want to be clear, and I want people listening to be clear. The rent stabilization applies to apartments.
No, it also single-family houses. If they're owned by corporations, correct?
The protections, the tenant protections.
We're talking about three different things.
Yeah.
The state AB 1482 protections do apply to single-family residences if they're owned by corporations, or if they're owned by real estate investment trusts, or if they're owned by LLCs, limited liability companies, in which at least one of the members is a corporation. So the state protections, the State Tenant Protection Act, the state rent stabilization does apply to some single-family residences. Some, not all. Depends on how they're owned. The city's proposed ordinance would not apply rent stabilization at all to single-family residences. State law preempts that entirely. The city's just cause eviction ordinance, if adopted, could apply to single-family residences depending on how it's adopted. I hope that clarifies the three situations.
Okay.
Well, no, I didn't get it.
You're not the only one that.
So you're saying that Taormina would not be affected?
As I recall, Taormina,
It's a nonprofit, but
it's a corporation.
it's a corporation, nonprofit corporation.
So Taormina is subject to the state AB 1482, unless it's otherwise exempt. As I know, there may be some affordability component. I don't have the leases at Taormina, so I can't speak in precisely. I need to review the leases and the corporation documents. But generally, corporate-owned single-family residences are subject to the state's AB 1482 protections. But to be clear, there may be some particular facet of the leases or the ownership structure or the particular details of Taormina that would change that rule from the general rule. I don't have those documents and I can't opine on the specifics.
So the protections, does that include the 3% or 4% cap?
If the city adopted a rent stabilization ordinance, that would not apply to the single-family residences at Taormina because it cannot, per state law, regardless of the ownership. Because it's a rent stabilization ordinance, it would not apply to single-family residences, including those at Taormina, regardless of ownership. However, the city's just cause eviction ordinance could apply to Taormina, regardless of ownership, depending on how the council drafts it. As presently drafted, it would apply I think to Taormina because, as I understand it, it's a corporation. I say I think because I don't have all of the documents to give a definitive answer.
Okay.
Well, we can get back to you.
Later. Later for that.
Okay.
Well, the other question you had is,
We can do that later too.
oh, yeah, it's basically, I mean, we just raised rents a little bit because of expenses went up, but we didn't have to, you know.
There has to be more to it than that, but thank you.
All right, thank you, Sue. Thanks very much. Let's take a 5-minute break and we'll come back for a discussion. Thank you.